All right, guys, we are live in the DFS Sweatshop in the YouTube community here to talk the PGA Northern Trust event, the first event of the 4 weeks of the PGA or the FedEx Cup playoffs. Very interesting week this week. But first, before we get into anything, I want to introduce my co-host here, Andrew Pierce, ACP the Don. What's going on, my brother?
What's going on, Sweatshop? What's going on, guys? Hope we can all take some money today, this weekend.
Speaking of money, man, you're going out to Colorado for the live finals, man. That's got to be an exciting thing. You ever been to Colorado before?
I have not been to Colorado. It's my first time, man.
Awesome, man. Awesome.
So excited.
I bet, dude. Yeah, that's back when I used to partake in what Colorado's known for back then. I used to always want to go out there just to like experience what like being able to do shit in hotels and stuff like they literally it's like the haven for that stuff. But anyway, that's not what you're going for, so we won't talk about that. But let's get into some golf because I know we're on a little short slot here. So real quick, I did write some notes here for the. Let me actually share my screen here so people can see the notes I got here. All right, so a little bit here first. It's a 7,346 yard par 70 course, quote unquote course, because they're playing 27 holes through like 3 different courses on their in their golf club. There's 3 courses and they're splitting up the holes. It's I mentioned this in the sweatshop. So if you're a member of the sweatshop, you saw my post about it. If you're not, join at the dfssweatshop.com. I mentioned that we're all on a level playing field. There is no course history. There is no 18 holes specifically where you can look at all 18 holes and kind of get an idea. It's a shit show, so to speak. I mean, we have some very good golfers, but it's very tough to make an optimal quote unquote lineup. So definitely a good week to get in these GPPs. I wouldn't really be playing cash unless you really like a specific lineup of just all around cut makers. There are a few guys real low that we'll get into that can make cuts, as these are the top 125 golfers in the FedEx Cup. Actually, it's the top 125 guys declined to play this week. The only one of prominence is Sergio Garcia, and I mean that dude's loaded. This doesn't matter to him, so he's not worried about it. He won the Masters this year. That's all he wanted. So, and I will mention as well in my little document I had here that, and by the way, this is all from the PGA Tour S. Martin. I did copy and paste 2 of these. So I wanted to link his Twitter here, but it says here that let's see here. I was trying to find. Okay, so they compare Glen Oaks, which is where the Northern Trust is taking place, to the quote unquote the Augusta, so the Masters. Very nice tree lines. I did have some pictures, but I wasn't able to get them on the document here. But there is a video on YouTube if you guys real quick before we get into the plays and who we like. If you go on YouTube and search Glen Oaks Golf Club, golf.com uploaded a YouTube video where they show a flyover and a walkthrough of the course, and it's real pristine, real flat. It almost looks like the Masters. That's why I see the correlation. Even though they are playing on 3 different courses, it's all has the same vibe, so to speak. So I will mention this also. There's only been one guy that's played both events. That's a guy named Stuart Hagstead. Glen Oaks Golf Club has not played a PGA official event at all. They did hold the 2016 Metropolitan Open, which was a amateur event. So only this Stuart Hagstead is the only guy to play both, and he just said it's pretty elite, as you can see. That's why they're comparing it to the Masters, because it's just bar none, looks beautiful. So and one other note before we get into the plays, this is all bonus for these guys. It's not like if they're already set. They're in the PGA Tour next year. So if you see withdrawals and you think, oh my God, what are these dumbasses doing? It's not that. These guys, this is just bonus money for them. They're fully exempt for next season, so they're not worried about what's going on right now, except for an extra paycheck if they need it. So yeah, so we can get right into it, my man. I got 5 key stats I'm looking at, and it's pretty simple this week. I'm not getting real in depth. Just because it is so tough to get a grip. So I just want the overall best golfers I can find. And for those 5 stats, I'm just doing strokes gained total, strokes gained par 4, birdies, strokes gained approach, which I have weighted the heaviest at 25%, All the rest are either 20 or 15. Birdie's being 15 actually by itself, and then strokes gained tee to green at 20% as well. So simply strokes gained stats, my man. ACP, you got any stats you're looking at?
No, you pretty much covered it. It's like I said, par 4 scoring is huge here. Your normal birdie or better as always, and yeah, pretty much everything you said already.
Right. Being a par 70, it's loaded with par 4s. There's only 2 par 5s and only 2 par 3s. So we're gonna see 14, my math's right there, par 4. So that's big time. Let's see here. So we can just start right up there at the top. We can just do what we usually do, separate it. Oh, I forgot to bring up the YouTube chat. Let me bring up the YouTube chat real quick here. I'm gonna mute the sound real quick so I don't hear myself here. We'll give me 1 second. All right. All right. All right, we're good. I got it brought up. Oh, I just saw it. So, all right, we're good. I think we're all good. We should be live. I think I just looked in the chat and it says, I hope we're not cutting in and out. I mean, I heard myself talking, so I think we're all good. But if anyone's here right now, just give us a 10-4. It's all golden. And shout out to Joe and Jamie for being in here early, man. I appreciate that. We always start a couple minutes late. That's mainly my fault. I'm always doing some dumb shit. But anyway, okay, so we started at the top here from the highest price golfer. We talked about this earlier in the week when the prices first came out. I had a little debate with Caleb, who's been a co-host for me the last couple of weeks. But we talked about Hideki, whether he'd be chalk or not, him being the number 1 priced golfer, which I was astounded by. I mean, obviously he's been playing well, but usually they never give him that respect. So ACP, my man, in between Hideki and DJ, what's your first lead and any thoughts on ownership? Anywhere you want to take it?
Between Hideki and DJ?
No, I just meant in that range. Sorry.
Oh, okay, yeah. So ownership wise, Ricky Fowler is always popular, so he's going to be popular. It's really interesting to me because personally, I think just based off recent performance alone, Hideki should be one of the highest owned studs in this upper field. That being said, we know the stigmas that come with Hideki time and time again. So I wouldn't be surprised to see like a Ricky Fowler the highest owned out of these 10K guys. I think Dustin Johnson's price might give him a little bit more ownership than he's been getting in these recent tournaments. And I think Rory at that price too. I think Rory might actually get slept on. I think Spieth is Spieth. He always garners ownership. I think Ricky Fowler is going to be the highest owned. And I think Hideki is going to probably be maybe the 2nd or 3rd highest owned. But you never know with these tournaments, man.
Sorry, who'd you say you thought it was going to be the 1st highest owned in that group? Ricky, you said?
It's hard just because Ricky's so popular. But if I'm just basing it off performance, I don't see why Spieth or Hideki wouldn't be the highest owned in this field. I just know people love Ricky. They play Ricky regardless, and he's been so consistent. So, I mean, I understand playing him for DraftKings. But now he's at a price where do you think he's going to be top 5 or, win this thing? Ricky consistently gets T10s, a good T5 here, T9, 9th place, whatever. But now he's at a price where you have to take a stand on him. It used to be like, he's 9K, maybe 10K at the most.
Right. You could usually fit him with another stud, but now look, it's real tough to do so. But yeah, I just brought up the ownership projections on Fantasy National here with the favorite percentage and all that good stuff. And other than Paul Casey, who seems to be the cash game lock almost every week. Yeah, they got DJ number 2, I was pretty surprised by. I thought Ricky for sure would be number 2.
His price would be the most appealing thing.
Right, because usually even when he was playing so poorly just a few weeks ago, they still had him at 12.5 or 12.2, and now he's actually not terrible, but he's not doing number 1 in the world worthy, but he's I don't know, man. It's almost like him and Ricky traded. And I feel like that ownership might flip a little bit as well. I think everyone's going to be above 12 to 15%, except maybe Rory, just because of in sharper tournaments. I don't think people are going to be playing Rory as much, just because of all that speak about his being being injured in the back or what is it, the ribs? I can't remember what it was, but he said he had a quote at at a press conference after the last event saying, I mean, after the PGA Championship, saying you might not see me again this year, or you might see me next week. So you really don't know. Yeah. So you, for
Yeah,
me, real
so
quick. Yeah, go ahead, finish. Yeah, my fault.
no, I was gonna say my favorite plays in this field and this range, and then you can do your favorite plays. So yeah, I think first of all, guys, I'm only playing one lineup, so keep in mind when I say my personal favorite plays, because I'm only doing a single entry. But for those of you out there doing multi-entry lineups, I always see the merit in playing a lot of these guys. But Hideki, obviously, I've played Hideki so much. The guy, T5 last time out, won the one before that, T14, T14, T2. And these are the US Open, the Open Championship, PGA Championship, and the World Golf Championship Invitational. The guy has been killing it. And I wouldn't be surprised if he came out here hot again. But so Hideki is just a no-brainer for me. It's if you're gonna play multiple entries, especially, you definitely want to have some exposure to Hideki. Besides that, in this field, I mean, all these guys at this top range, guys, don't get me wrong, you can play any one of them. Strictly from we're just doing 10K, or you want to do 9K? We could do 9K and 10K since it's short.
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
So from 9.4 up, some of my favorite plays, guys, for GPPs, like just strictly GPP, I like Jason Day. At his price, you can definitely make a decent lineup too, like a pretty strong lineup with his price point. And I'm not sure what his projected ownership is going to be this week, but I just know recently he hasn't been getting as much ownership as he used to, and it was due to his poor form. His form's been trending upward now, and I think this is the perfect time to maybe fire him up in a GPP. 9.7, that's a really good price. Yeah, I like Jason Day for GPP status. Now Henrik Stenson is interesting at 9.8. He just came off a win, so I think he might get more. He's gonna garner more ownership than he normally does. He's really 50-50 with me. Does that win validate? He come out T13 at the PGA Championship too, so he's definitely trending upward again. He had T11 at the Open, so yeah, I could definitely see playing some Stenson here. It's gonna be one of those 50-50 plays for me. Where do I think him coming off that win, is it more of a trappy play because he's going to go on more ownership? And we have seen Stenson this year suck, for lack of better words, but he has been trending upward, so definitely another GPP strictly play. Stenson and Day, like strictly GPP plays. Now, as far as my favorite plays and just in this field in general, I think now at Dustin Johnson's price, he definitely is worth a look. And as we saw, a lot of people are going to like him this week, so that'd be more of a cash play for me. But if you like DJ this week, it's a par 70, but it's long. So guys like Dustin Johnson, this is a type of course fits for him. So look out for him this week. Rory, another guy who's long, 10.9. I think Rory might get slept on in this range, just because he's sandwiched between guys like Jordan Spieth and Dustin Johnson. So he's another guy you really want to be on the lookout for. He has a new caddy and all that. We saw he got T22. I don't think that should really play a factor, but that narrative is there and everything. But yeah, Rory is definitely another GPP play that I like. I think hands down my favorite play is always going to be Hideki, just because of how consistent he's been. But besides him, like Jordan Spieth, another guy who he had back-to-back wins, T13 and T28. So his form is great. People are going to think him coming off the T28 at PGA Championship, is going to get a little bit less ownership than normal, which is a mistake. Jordan Spieth is, the best young golfer that we have, and he's already had 2 major wins this year. So my favorite play, definitely, though, if you're doing much entries, Hideki, maybe Jordan Spieth, Hideki, and then Ricky Fowler, he's due, right? He's due. He's had so many T5, T10s. He's due. I just, me personally, I don't think I will probably won't be playing Ricky Fowler until he actually wins. And I haven't played him this year, really. I fit if when he's like 8K, I'll throw him in because it's easy T10, T5. But at this price point, you really gotta make your stand. Do you think this is the week that Ricky, he wins, or he's gonna be T5 at least at that price point? So that's where you gotta really weigh in at on Ricky Fowler. And yeah, so favorite plays Hideki. GPP plays definitely Jason Day, Stenson is worth a look, and then Spieth is always worth a look, and then Dustin Johnson at his price point, and out of nowhere he can become that number one golfer again. So 10-8 is nothing for Dustin Johnson. So yeah, some of my favorite plays from that.
Right. No, great, well put. I like that.
I'm sorry. I was looking at one of my lineups already that I already had made. So 9K range, including Brooks Koepka. I like Brooks this week. I love Brooks this week, actually. Very long. It's been consistent. It really shows up at these majors. At 9-1-2, you can really make a strong line with him, as your lead guy. Paul Casey, everybody likes Paul Casey this week. And for good reason. The guy's been, great. He's at 9K too, so you can really make a good line with that. But yeah, those two guys too, I do like this week. I love Brooks this week. So Brooks is probably one of my favorite plays in this range. Hideki for like cash especially, and then your DJ at his price point, and then Day for like a GPP status.
Right. Yeah, man, I pretty much agree all the way around. I did want to make one point with Rory, though. On FanShare, he has 7 starts and 6 sits. That is, for a guy above 10K, that is a pretty even disparity, obviously, 7 to 6. I didn't think it'd be that poor on the sits. He has the most sits out of every golfer in the field. That means he's obviously a GPP play. I'm not going to say a solid GPP play because that's what the research you guys got to do on your own to figure that out. I mean, I personally, with 1 or 2 lineups, I'm not going to trust Rory. I think there's obviously better plays. ACP mentioned pretty much all of them. My favorite place, if we go all the way down to that 9K range and up, is actually I actually like to skip the top range too and go straight to Brooks. The only problem I think with Brooks is he's going to be one of those guys that he isn't calculated or projected for a lot of ownership. But I think when tomorrow morning comes around at 7:05 or whenever this tournament locks up, it's in between 7 and 8 most of the time. But I think you're going to see Brooks above, maybe like my hot take. I don't know if it's a hot take, but I think he might touch 20%, honestly. And I mean, it depends on your tournament, but he's got 22 starts and 0 sits right now. The only guys in that range are Spieth with 19 and Patrick Reed with 18, which is very interesting on Reed because usually he's volatile. So that's interesting. But back to the top range for me, like I mentioned, no Rory for me this week. If you guys, like Curtis mentioned in the chat that he's going to max enter the quarter or think about it, if you're going to do that, I would get a lineup or two with Rory and put him with guys with upside, cheaper guys with upside, I'd say, because you're already going away from the field a little bit by taking Rory. But if I am going up top, I'm actually going to go to Spieth. I think I'm going to listen to my stats for once this week. Last week, I stared right at Stenson being the number 1 guy in stats, and I went straight away from him, faded him. So this week, I'm just going to listen and take Spieth. DJ is number 2 in my stats, and as ACP mentioned, this is only a par 70, so a lot of people, I shouldn't say a lot of people if he's calculated high ownership, but a good amount of people, I should say, aren't going to go DJ because they're going to be like, oh, this looks like a shorter course, only par 70, a lot of par 4s. Well, this guy is number 1 on strokes gained par 4s in the last 50 rounds, which is a lot of tournaments. I'm going to bring that down a little bit because I haven't done that yet. I'm going to look at the last 12 rounds. Probably not as good because those last 50 rounds, he won like 3 events in a row earlier this year. But I agree with a lot of that. Brooks, I think Ricky's an all right play. I'm a little worried. Well, I don't know. It's neither here nor there because with his price uptick, I should say, that might bring some people off of him. And move people towards DJ or even Jason Day, who I think is going to be very highly owned as well, which I am perfectly fine fading Jason Day. I think DK is just bringing you in my opinion, like just reeling you in. They're baiting you into that play. He's doing all right. He's turning it around from the poor middle of the year he's been having. But I've not seen enough for him to be my number one guy, because I do like this. We're gonna get into it, but I do like this high 8, mid 8K range where I can't take two guys above. Like I can't take Brooks and a stud and get the guys I want in that 8K range. So uh, I was when I first looked at it, I either was gonna start at Jason Day before I saw a lot of ownership going his way. But for me now, that is a perfect fade in my opinion. And then Brooks, who doesn't do very well in my stats, not very good at approach, but if he can keep the ball straight, I'm not too worried about it. If he misses the fairways, I think Brooks is going to be in for a long week. But other than that's where I'm going. JT obviously just won the PGA Championship. Obviously did not play at the Wyndham, but I don't. I think JT is a good pivot from Jason Day, but because he'll probably have half the ownership, but you don't really know. I mean, the dude just won a major. This isn't, like I mentioned at the beginning, you're not earning anything except for money. And when you win a major, you're getting paid. So I don't know what's the word I'm looking for? How much motivation, I should say, he has in on this. But Matsuyama, as you mentioned, is number 2 in my stats. And I will have trouble fading him if I make more than one lineup, but I think with one lineup, I am fine with going with Brooks as my number 1 guy. But I don't know. Matsuyama is. I don't think he's going to get as high ownership as people think. Like I saw Seth mention in the chat that he's projecting at second or third highest ownership, and I don't think he'll be that high in the high range here. I do think that Day and Koepka are going to be higher owned, in my opinion. I don't know. I'm going to do some more digging after this and look at some other things. He's killing it his last 12 rounds, and that's why he's number 2 on my stats, because obviously, as you mentioned, he got like the T2, like the T4, T18 or something like that in like his last 3 events. And number 1 in birdies, number 1 strokes gained total. So I can get behind that. Hard for me to do it in just one lineup because that 20% that's going to go with Matsuyama, if his putter, which is known to be poor or volatile, let's say, then if this weekend it's not as good as it has been the last few tournaments, then that's the perfect fade for me. And as I mentioned, putting is the most volatile stat. So if his putter doesn't show, he could be out by Friday. So that's where I'm going in that top range. It's just going to be Koepka. Well, actually, Paul Casey as well. But I'm focusing mainly on Koepka, Spieth, and I'll sprinkle, even though I'm only making 1 or 2 lineups. So I won't say sprinkle, but I'm considering Matsuyama and Paul Casey. It's going to be hard. I just got to work out the pairings because I do like this 8K range and high 7K range. And we do get a lot of names coming up now, so we can just go from 8.9, so John Rahm, down to Kevin Kisner there. And you can start it off if you like, or if you have any response, go ahead.
No. Yeah. So for everybody in here, I just want to reiterate that that when you guys are looking at these top players, their price points, keep in mind, like, just because you pick, you magically pick the winner in this top, this top echelon, that doesn't mean anything as far as DraftKings, So if you have to fucking destroy your lineup to fit, Hideki in your lineup, then it's not worth the play. But at the same time, like I said, since I'm doing single entry, that's why it's 50-50 for me if I'm going to play him or not. At the same time, if you can find, those stud guys like Hideki and, whatever, somebody in the 8-9K range, and then you can find great plays in the 7-6K range, then that's when you want to really look at these studs at the top. But at the same time, if you can get the 2nd place, 3rd place, and 4th place guy in your lineup, that's better than just having the 1st place guy in your lineup and then having, a bunch of guys like 40th, 50th, cut, 70th. So keep that in mind when you're constructing your lineups. Don't just always go for guys don't try to make your lineup of 6 guys who you think can win the tournament. Because that's how you get guys that get cut. Because either they're boom or bust type of guys, So you wanna have that nice juicy meat in your lineup, and then you want your studs are obviously anchoring it, and then you want those guys who can get that T5, and those are the guys you always see people in the T10 on the leaderboards on Sundays or Saturdays that nobody's even looking at, nobody even thought about playing because we're so focused about these top guys. So just keep that in mind. Obviously, any one of these guys can win it. Obviously, everybody in this tournament is a good player, so you can't go wrong with anybody really, and it's golf. Just keep that in mind when you're betting your lineups. Now on to the 8K range. Yeah, we'll do all 8K range here.
Real quick, you do make a very valid point before you do that. I just wanted to touch on it. You said you don't really want to get 6 winners because obviously only one guy wins, and the only difference between first and second place, real quick, is 10 points, finishing points. You get 30 for first, 20 for second, and you might get 1 or 2 birdies extra unless you run away with it, right? And that hasn't happened, and especially in a field like this, you won't see that, in my opinion. So I completely agree. You want guys that you want to find one guy that might be undervalued, so to speak, that can finish well, and then just put in key guys around them that are going to be on the leaderboard. Because I've made the mistake early on of trying to find just 6 outliers that no one's really on, and it just bombs. I'll have 2 missed cuts, and then even if I have the winner, I got 2 missed cuts, and it's looking like shit. So you make a very valid point. But yeah, go ahead, my brother.
Yep. All right. Like I always say, man, you want to get the most DraftKings points, guys. You don't always have to get the winner in your lineup to have the most DraftKings points. Obviously, it helps, but you want to have the most DraftKings points. All right, so moving on to this 8K range. Yeah, this 8K range is just so juicy, man.
Other than Zach Johnson, but yeah. Probably go out there.
But
yeah, go ahead.
So at 8-9, you get Jon Rahm, man. A guy who's been 10K, 9K or above for as long as I can remember him fucking playing this year. Is finally at 8-9. Multi-entry, I don't see how you don't play him at least in one of your lineups. At least. Single entry, it's a hard fade for me. Jon Rahm has not proved to me yet that in these big major tournaments or big fields that he can show up. Now, keep in mind if there's any if you want to say a sleeper pick for winning the tournament, Jon Rahm is it, because this is a long course, like we were saying, and Jon Rahm's one of the longest of them. So, definitely, I don't really. What's his ownership projected at right now? Because I don't even know what to think. His price is so good that I would expect it to be higher. But he's been so bad in these bigger fields that its ownership is projected at 13.3 projected.
Yeah, and 14% have actually put him into lineup generators, which I'm glad Fantasy National added that because that almost is like real. It's not just calculated. 14. But it's interesting that 40% almost roughly favored him, but only 14% have put him in lineup. So that's interesting. But
man,
you said it's like a hard fade, which I agree with in a single entry. So I feel like that's where other people are going. So I don't know. It might be a little contrarian, but go ahead, man. I don't want to.
Yeah, no. Yeah, single entry, that's a hard fade for me. Obviously, if you like him this week, play him. Please don't let me take you off any plays. Jon Rahm is one of those boomer bust guys I was talking about, man. Especially he's those guys that once he gets in his head, man, it's a wrap. Like if he gets angry or if he starts swinging his club around, he's done. So keep caution with him at 8-9. It kind of seems almost too good to be true. It kind of seems trappy, but at the same time, it could be a great play because I don't think she's going to get as much ownership as he should at that price. So that's definitely a GPP strictly play for me. I would avoid him like the plague in cash. Now getting down to some of my favorite plays in this range. There's a lot of them, man. You can't go wrong with Luis. I'm not even gonna try to pronounce his last name.
Luis Tazen. Did you see that video real quick that he uploaded where he was memeing? What song was it? I can't remember. But he just got, when he got second in the PGA Championship, he got the Grand Slam for second places. He finished second in every single major. I just thought that was hilarious. But yeah,
I love this guy. I play him a lot. Just came off a T2 at the PGA Championship. A T23 at the U.S. Open, T2 at the Players Championship at 8-8. You can definitely build a solid lineup with him. He's he's one of my go-to guys. Matt Kuchar is, for good reason. It's Matt Kuchar, man. This guy, he's so consistent, man. It's ridiculous. Definitely one of your safer plays, quote unquote, in golf, safe. Open Championship, second place, T9 at the PGA. This guy, 8-7. I mean, fuck, it's like it's a steal at that price, man. Okay, Patrick Reed is another guy. It's coming off the T2 at the PGA Championship, so he might garner more ownership than he normally does. So he's one of those guys that I don't know. I'm kind of iffy a little bit, but I definitely see the merit in playing him. I think my single entry I will be fading. I mean, I think most of these guys will be fading because I only have not enough to roster all these guys. But I like Patrick. If you like Patrick Reed, play him. I don't know what to think about him, to be honest. Daniel Berger is always always in play. I don't know what to think of him this week in this field. Young guy, one of the top young guy prospects. Really, he's had his moments of brilliance, and he's had moments where he just looked like straight crap. U.S. Open, he got cut, and he also just came off the cut at the PGA Championship. So I mean, he's probably burned some guys in the past. So if you're looking for a lower ownership, well, I don't know. But Berger still garners ownership. See, that's the thing. What are they projecting him at right now?
13.6.
Around 13%. So I mean, if you like Berger this week, play him. I'll be fading Berger this week. From what I've seen, he hasn't been showing up really at these major type caliber events. T27 at the Masters, so that's good. And this is similar to Augustus in a way. T27 at the Open. So yeah, I mean, he's definitely one of those plays. If you trying to fill a lineup and you like Berger, play him. I could go on about any of these guys, man. Mark Leishman is, another one of those quote unquote safe guys. And this guy, he's a good golfer, man. If you like him, play him this week. I have nothing bad to say about Mark Leishman. I mean, he's Mark Leishman. All right, so getting down to these lower 8K range. Now, this is where it's really kind of your juicier type GPP plays. Besides Kevin Kisner. Kevin Kisner, if you like Kevin Kisner, play him. I mean, he's a great golfer. He kind of screwed me at the PGA Championship because he was leading all 3 days, and then the last day, he wants to choke it away. But him and Hideki, I had them both paired together. But
oh man, that's got
I digress. Anyways, yeah, Kevin Kisner, he's a great golfer. Don't be surprised though. Kevin Kisner is one of those guys. If he misses the cut, don't be surprised. Like he's great, and he's been trending really upward. But he's also that type of guy he'll randomly just miss the cut.
Right, he barely hung in there at the he made the cut, of course, last week at the Wyndham, but
yeah.
in a field real small where he was second favorite behind Stenson. Stenson ran away, or I mean, maybe Webb was second. I can't remember, but Kisner finished, I think, 7 under, maybe a little bit better, which wasn't that good. The cut was at like -3 or -4, so he didn't really show any, like he didn't have any birdie, like he didn't have a multiple birdie streak or anything like that. So I agree with you. If he misses the cut, it's not. That's why he's 8K in this field, because he's not the second or third best golfer in this field.
Exactly. And at the same time, he can miss the cut, or he can come out like he did at the PGA Championship and lead for 3 rounds. Yeah, so now these are where the GPP GC type plays are here. So single entry, I will not be playing Justin Rose. I will not play him. Now, hear me out, guys. I know Justin Rose has been burning people. He's been burning people a lot. If you're doing multi-entry, especially, I don't see his ownership being that high. He's burned so many people, especially at majors. He hasn't really been showing up. He had a good showing at the Masters, second place. I know Justin Rose is hungry, and I know he's not happy with his performance lately. So if you're trying to get on a guy before he gets his form back, I don't see why not at 8-3, especially. Now, if you play him this week and he misses the cut, don't be mad at me, because he can easily miss the cut. His form has not been that good recently. But as far as GPP play only, Justin Rose at 8-3, I definitely can look at him. Zach Johnson, I will never play until he shows me something, dude.
I agree. Except
But
if it's the John Deere, because he like owns that course.
Yeah, except it's a John Deere. But I mean, if Zach Johnson's like your cousin or something, you like him, man, fucking play him, bro. But all right, now Ollie is really interesting to me here, man. I almost considered playing him in my fucking single entry. Right now, I don't have him, but this guy Ollie, man, when he gets hot, bro, the birdies just stack up. The birdies stack up, man.
21 under at the Wyndham.
Yeah, at the Wyndham, second place, man. He went on a
only had one eagle.
Yeah, he only had one eagle. He went on a birdie streak like back to back to back to back. And he's in this tougher field. I know like more sharper players will be, they'll obviously be on Ollie, but as far as everybody else, I don't think Ollie's he's not the guy. He's not a fucking Dustin Johnson. So I think as far as GPP, Ollie could be sneaky this week, guys. He could be very sneaky. Now
Vegas loves him as well. 66-1 at only 8K.
Yeah, I just saw earlier somebody was tweeting out that he was as high as 107. So I guess that went down a lot since those couple hours. But yeah, so Ollie's definitely one of my sleeper plays. I don't know if I'll play him single entry or not yet, but definitely be on the lookout for him. Now, what about you in this AK range?
Yeah, man, I agree with a lot of the stuff you said as well there. I am going to find one spot to disagree. And where was it? That was on Louis. I'm going to fade him this week. I can't – I don't know. He's doing well, but his price is in that range where you want to play him. But I think if I'm going here, I'm going to take the chance on Jon Rahm. I just think – people are going to go away from him. Brooks is 200 more. Casey is 100 more. Fantasy National is projecting Paul Casey to be the highest owned guy on the slate. So for me, I think Jon Rahm is the, I don't want to say sharp play, but is the contrarian. If he does well, you're in the leaderboard pretty much no matter what, unless you take 3 missed cuts. Or he's going to, like you mentioned, he's going to blow up and miss the cut. Which both are just as likely in my opinion. I think Jon Rahm can do well. I did bring up some stats on Poa Grass, and I want to see where Rahm was. He's ranks 8th. So same 5 key stats I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So I really like that. Daniel Berger is as well 5th in my key stats on Poa Greens. He, as you mentioned, he did put together a solid stretch of like 5 top like 30s or something like that. But then he just kind of slowly like fell off a little bit. And he's at that point where I don't know how many people really want to get back on him. So it was actually just 3 events ago. He won the St. Jude, missed the cut at the US Open, then second, T5, T27, T17, and then missed the cut at PGA Championship. And that was his last event. And he's so 2 weeks ago, he took the Wyndham off, obviously, as most guys did. But he's coming back, and he's at 8.5K. So he's right above the median price for DK players. You're looking at 8.33 as your average price. So for Daniel Berger, I think he's my favorite in that 8 to 9K range just because Rahm is too volatile for me. Berger hasn't been as volatile. I'm not going to look at the missed cut at the PGA Championship as strongly as some might just because – that course was so long. I mean, just walking it was fucking ridiculous. Not to mention these guys.
How was that?
Oh, dude, it was insane. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You weren't my co-host last week, so we didn't talk about it. But, dude, yeah, it was insane, man. I mean, I got there not to spend too much time on it because I know you got to get going pretty soon. But, man, it was insane. I showed up late Saturday, like not night, but like afternoon. I got there like 4:30 while most people were leaving. And so I got to watch like some of the good groups while like with like not many crowds. But Sunday we made a plan to get out there really early, and we got out there at about 8:30. I actually watched Charles Howell, I watched Charles Howell tee the first hole. He started at like 8:05, so I was there by 8, all by himself. And then they gave him a spotter. I don't remember his name. They didn't have it was just a local club pro. But yeah, man. And then we walked up to the 12th hole. We found some bleachers. with a missed fan because they needed it, bro. I couldn't believe these golfers, bro, because they're by rule they have to wear long pants. So these guys are trekking 18 holes, like 7,600 yards in 95-degree heat.
Yeah, fuck.
At least the caddies got to wear shorts. But anyway, it was nuts, man. It was a hell of a time. I got to watch Molinari just fucking light up the scoreboard on Sunday. It was a great event, man. It was cool. But I similarly, man, I had Hideki in my Millie Maker, and I just watched him falter, man. It was bad, but it was still a great experience. Being there kind of made up for fucking watching my Millie Maker just fall out the money, but it was cool. So anyway, let me get down to I really like the Ollie play as well. I'm a little worried. Well, I'm not worried. I complete opposite. Eagles, if on par fours, if there's a drivable par four, I haven't actually looked at the exact yardage per hole, but there's got to be at least one or two drivable par fours. And if you're talking about pure eagle making, which is still a DK landmark, if you can find eagles, if you can get two eagles in a tournament, you're probably going to be on the leaderboard unless you just bogey like a lot. So I like Ollie. He's a solid birdie maker, as you mentioned. He's eagled twice in his last four tournaments, three in his last three, I should say. None at the Barracuda, but I mean, who really cares? He missed the cut there anyway. But when he makes the cut, he generally eagles at least once. So I like that. I think Patrick Reed's going to be a fade for me. I think too many people are going on to him. His price is down. He's kind of like John Rahm. His price is down, but people are on him. And I think John Rahm's price is down and people aren't on him. So John Rahm's at a price, as you mentioned, you don't need to find six winners because not six guys aren't going to win. But if John Rahm at least makes the cut and I have the winner in that lineup, it's not the end of the world. You're like, yes, I'm trying to win the tournament, but at the same time, I'd rather cash than not cash. So we'll see. And plus, Saturday is known as moving day. So if he just makes the cut Saturday, John Rahm's the type of golfer to kind of put himself back into contention if he slowly makes the cut. And then Kuchar again at 8.7. That's going to be a hard fade for me, especially in one or two lineups. He's a cash game play for me. I won't be able to play him in any tournaments. He probably make the cut, but his upside isn't there. He's not as long as I'd like him to be. Same reason for Zach Johnson, other than Zach Johnson actually sucks. Unlike Kuchar, he's actually a good golfer. Zach Johnson it seems like it all depends if he got some good coochie or some good pie the night before, because if he didn't, he seems so frustrated and upset about nothing. So these guys are making millions of dollars, man. There's no reason to fucking start flailing your clubs around like a I don't know, man. But anyway, I think the guy that's going not unnoticed, but kind of falling between the cracks is Mark Leishman, because there's so much star power in that range. And I think Mark Leishman, let me check his ownership projection real quick here.
Doesn't Mark Leishman consistently garner ownership though? Like those faithfuls?
Yeah, he does. He's favored at a high level too. 28% favored him, but he's only calculated about 10% ownership, which I could get on there. Let me just check one thing on Leishman here in his DK scoring. Yeah, so he's made the cut. I was just making sure he hasn't missed. He hasn't missed a cut since the Players in July. So, and he was at T13, T34, T15. So he's finishing in the top 41 every event. Yeah. PGA Championship, he got T13. So I don't know. He's eagled four times in his last four events as well. Twice at the Quicken Loans, once at the PGA Championship, and once at the Open Championship. So I can get behind some Mark Leishman, especially at that price. It'll let you fit in whoever you want as your stud, whoever that may be, whatever take you guys have. If you like Spieth, if you like DJ, if you like Matsuyama, you can still fit them in and still have a good salary. So my three favorite, or actually I'll say four. I know that's a lot of names, but depending on how much price you guys got left, if you need to throw in one more guy, up top in the 8K range, it's going to be John Rahm. In the middle, it's going to be Leishman over Berger, but I like them both. And then down at 8.1, just like you, man, I like Ollie as well. But Ollie is volatile at times. If he's doing well, he top 5, top 10, like is in the picture at almost all times. But if he's starts slow, it's going to be tough for him to catch fire. But if he catches fire, he's going to stay hot. He's not going to fall off and triple bogey and fall out of the cut line like some golfers tend to do. But and I won't have any Kisner. I'm going to be fading Kisner. He's played the last like 4 events, I believe. I know he's played the last 2, obviously. Yeah, he played the Bridgestone. He actually did have a week off between the Open and the Bridgestone, so he hasn't been killing himself too much. But he hasn't missed a cut since the Greenbrier a month and a half ago. So at 8K, that's some good, decent consistency you're looking for. But I won't be able to go to him. And then down to that 7K range, let's just go 7.9 to 7.5 since you got a bunch of guys at 7.6 and 7.5. So take it away, my man.
All right. 7.9, 7.5.
Yeah.
Okay. So right off the bat, question of the tournament, man. Charlie Hoffman.
Yeah, Vegas is in love with this dude. 50 to 1. That's better than.
What's his ownership?
Oh yeah, probably sky high. 20%. He was favored in over half the people that use Fantasy National favored him.
I mean, this is one of those. Let's see. This is one of those plays where he's going to be popular. I mean, his price doesn't help. 7.9. You can easily fit that with almost anybody. So this is one of those plays you got to take your stand. Is Charlie Hoffman gonna show up this week, or is he gonna miss the cutter and have a poor showing? That's my stand on Charlie Hoffman. We've seen him. He's especially recently he's been hot. I said the PGA kind of simmered down some, but it's PGA. He still made the cut. It happens. But T20 off the Open, second place at the RBC, third place at the WGC. So yeah, Charlie Hoffman. I wasn't a believer at first. I'll tell you guys. I always say, Charlie Hoffman is one of those first round leader. Charlie Hoffman,
right?
Bet on him. Charlie Hoffman, first round leader, right now, every single time. Then he falls off gradually. Now he's really impressed me lately. So that's my stand on him. My take on him is if you think he's gonna show up this week, play him. If not, then fade him because his ownership's gonna be too high to be in the middle with it or messing around.
Right. He's the type of guy you got to go overweight or underweight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, Phil Mickelson, man, the lefty.
Negative. I'll just say that now. No way, Jose, man.
My single entry, I will not be playing Phil Mickelson. And Phil Mickelson always garners ownership for some reason lately. He's popular. He's a popular golfer. But I do know he's been burning people a lot with that popular ownership. PGA Championship got cut plus 11.
They only have him at 3% ownership.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, so I'm guessing people maybe you're finally feeling that burn and they're off of Phil. Which if you're GPP play, you could play him at free GPP play. Phil at lower ownership, maybe. Single entry for me, no. The way he's looked recently, no. Spraying that driver all over the course, I'm good. But as far as GPP strictly, I can see Phil Mickelson, especially if he's actually not going to garner that much ownership this week. Patrick Cantlay's one that I've been back and forth on it this whole day. The guy's made 8 out of 8 cuts. Okay, so.
Oh, by the way, you asked me about the PGA Championship. He's the guy. I got a high five from Cantley, man. They were walking real quick. They in between holes, there's this one pathway I was going to get a beer because they don't serve beers on Sunday until fucking noon. Just like in Chapel Hill, we just passed a bill where it's 10 a.m. But anyway, in Charlotte, it was at noon. So I'm sitting there waiting to cross to go buy the beer. And it's 11:58. And he's walking by with Ryan Moore because they were in the same group. And I just let Ryan Moore walk right by me. And I was like, hey, Patrick, man, let me get some love. And he gave me a high five. That show's crazy.
Oh, shit. He's playing Patrick this week, boys.
You're right, actually. I will be.
Yeah. I'm actually on the fence about Patrick, man. The guy's made 8 out of 8 cuts. Obviously everybody loves cut makers. It's just in this field he's at T22 at the Players, T33 coming out off the PGA. At 7-8, can you take a top 30? I think, but I don't know. That's why I'm still on the fence right now. I literally don't know what to do with Cantlay. And obviously he's a good golfer. I'll be interested to hear your take on him.
Honestly, it's not a stat play. His stats don't match out. He's not good on POA grass. He doesn't have the good thing is I don't think scoring's going to be too high this week. This is not really an easy course. You're not going to see upper teens is the winning score. So I think Cantley can hang. He can get that under 8K. You don't need a winner because you're hoping to find the winner elsewhere. So he's kind of that cut maker, maybe a birdie streak or two, maybe eagle if he could. He's not that long, but it's. I was actually in the same boat as you, man. I know I keep agreeing with you almost everywhere, but this morning I wasn't gonna play him. But let me just look at his ownership. What I was looking at earlier was at like 6%. Yeah, 5.3. It's gone down a little bit. So I at that ownership, and he's 8 for 8 made cuts. Granted, this is a course he hasn't seen before. I mean, most of them aren't a course he's seen before because he's been on the amateur event or the amateur scene. But I'm gonna be on him. It's gonna be hard for me to do it in one entry. If I can get a second reserved, I'm definitely gonna have him on my second lineup. But for the first one, I might be a really tough. I don't even say hard. I'm gonna say really tough fade for me.
Yeah, single. I think I'm leaning towards fading. So that's my stand on it. I think as far as cash games, he could be, great cash staple for you. 8 out of 8 cuts. He's been pretty consistent. But as far as GPP, I'm not too in love with it to play. Okay.
The mini heats just filled up, guys, by the way. So if you're trying to get in these tournaments, get in them ASAP because a lot of them are filling here.
Yeah, it's been the quickest I've seen these tournaments fill up, actually.
And real quick, the 20 entry max $4 tournament is 1.2 thousand weight or 1.4 from filling. It's got 61.8 thousand people. So I'm about to get a couple entries in there as well, just to make sure I make it. But go ahead, man. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that dog leg's actually the second dog leg too, and it's already at 842. Okay, anyways, yeah. So no Bill House for me. The guy's just safe. I mean, I can see maybe a cash gameplay, but he's just too safe. He just makes pars, and he'll get an occasional birdie, and that's it.
You said Bill Haas, right?
Yeah, Bill Haas.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are going to be off him because of that MDF last week. I mean, he was supposed to be the cream of the crop, and he just stayed in that bottom 75 range where you made the cut but did not finish. And that's a hot take. A lot of the golf touts and Twitter is talking about how that's a bullshit rule. Like Zach Blair lost his tour card because he MDF'd, but he made the cut on Saturday. Friday, but since he didn't golf well on Saturday or didn't golf better than the other 10 guys that, then yeah, dude, it is some crazy shit, but I don't want to spend too much on it. Go ahead.
All right. Yeah. Oh, we're going to 7-5, right? No RCB for me. I mean, that's personal though, because he burned me so hard. I mean, if you like RCB, besides the PGA Championship, and the WGC, to have to get a showing. I mean, Open, he had T4. U.S. Open, T42. He won the Scottish Open. So I mean, if you like him, you can play him. I don't really like him that much this week, especially with all this talent. Molinari is a guy that I'm interested. What is his projected ownership at right now?
Oh, I love Molinari as well. I think he's going to be upwards like 15. Yeah, 18%.
Yeah, I figured a lot of people are on him. Yeah, so that's another guy you got to make a stand on, guys. But he fits perfectly for this course, man. This, at least stats wise, especially coming off a T2 at the PGA. So he's hot. Hopefully, he can keep that hot streak going. So I do like Molinari this year. He's another guy I kind of flipped and flopped with for playing my single entry. I still haven't decided if I'm gonna play him yet this week, but I do like him this week. Duffner is, he's Duffner. T14 at the Open, T14 at the Wyndham the last week, which wasn't like crazy field or anything, but it was a decent field. And then PGA Championship T58, WGC. I don't know. I don't think I'll be playing Duffner, but multi entries. I'm not too in love with Duffner. I don't see him winning it. I don't see him really making a crazy wave, but I can see 1 or 2 lines of multi entry. I'm gonna speed up a little bit because I'm kind of running a little bit of time. So as far as favorite plays though, let's see. I mean, Webb Simpson is interesting. He's been kind of trending upward. Definitely won't garner that much ownership. Well, I say that, but Webb Simpson, I don't know.
8% is projected there.
8%, so decent, but not too bad. Going down here, Keegan Bradley is Keegan Bradley, bro. This guy Bradley, man. I mean, it used to be the joke was don't play Bradley ever, really. Unless you're just a gambling person, but slowly but surely, I mean, been trending decently upward.
Hasn't missed a cut in 2.5 months.
Yeah. So, PGA Championship had T33. He's been up and up. So definitely one of my sleeper, quote unquote, sleeper plays. 7-5, you can't go, too crazy. Can't go wrong with that. Now Kyle Stanley, 7-5. 7-5, Kyle Stanley.
Kyle Stanley, man.
My single entry, I will not be playing Kyle Stanley this week, guys.
I agree.
Sad day. Kyle Stanley is one of my favorite golfers.
3 missed cuts in 4 events, and the fourth event was a no-cut event. So, oh man,
it's sad day when I'm not playing Kyle Stanley, guys. The guy, his stats, we know how good Kyle Stanley's stats are, but the way he's been looking recently is, 3, like you said, 3 missed cuts out of the last 4 events. Albeit the Wyndham, everybody shot low that event. He still had a 68 on the second round, whatever. But
yeah, he only missed a cut by a shot, so
yeah. I mean, but damn, man, it's sad. I think GPP, I think Kyle Stanley's still in play if you're doing GPP. I think a lot of people will be the same way I feel, and they got burned by him these last couple of times. He hasn't been looking as good, and he could still have a pretty decent showing for you in a GPP lineup. Steve Stricker, 7-5. This guy, he just shows up. He just shows up, man. He hasn't played too many events this year, but when he does, he just shows up. Masters T16, a US Open T16. PGA Championship didn't look as good. T54, but still made the cut. I mean, he makes his cuts. He's been consistently placing well. So I can see the merit in Steve Stricker, and I could also see the merit in fading Steve Stricker. I think he'll be one of the more popular plays in this range specifically, this 7-5 range ish. So yeah, I have no really take on him. And getting down, yeah, that's Lahiri is interesting. I won't be playing him single entry, but the guy, I can see playing him in multi-entry. I mean, that's really my take on Lahiri. Yeah, I don't love the play, but definitely there is some merit to playing him in a multi-entry. I just want to say your favorite plays.
Yeah, and 7.5 up to 8. It's for me. It's actually pretty simple. Molinari, Kevin Chappell, Cantley, done. No Hoffman. I'm fading Hoffman. I can't do it. I played him. He was 30. What was he? 30% owned at the PGA Championship in T48. Not good enough for the ownership because there's other guys in big tournaments that had lower ownership that did better. If you're taking a guy at 20% owned, you're going to need those top 5 guys or 5 in the top 10, and that's already hard enough to do. So I'm going to be fading Hoffman. Molinari is actually kind of a fade for me. I'm working he's on the line for me because if Molinari misses the cut, there goes like 10% of lineups almost immediately, unless they do have like 5 guys who like hole in one or some gnarly shit. But for me, I'm gonna keep it simple in that range. I know there's a lot of names down below 7K, but I have a few guys down there that I actually like. But for me, Cantley, Chappell, Molinari, more Chappell though. I would, if I had the choice between Chappell and Molinari, I'd actually take Chappell. And then who else did I say? Oh, we haven't gotten that low yet. So that's it between 7.5 and up to 7.9 there. And then down below there, I only got two players, and I will be fading Tony Finau this week. I love Finau, but DK just shows him no respect, and Finau really he's going to make the cut more than likely, but I don't think he's in this field. I don't think he's going to do anything special to show his 25% ownership or even close to 30. I really like as my pivot play, and he's very volatile. It's the guy that I denied a high 5 from, and it's Ryan Moore at 7.1K. He's got 3 top 25s in a row. I think it is 3 top 28s in a row. Missed the cut at the Open, but since then, T13 at the PGA Championship, which is known as a long course. Well, it is a long course, 7,600 yards, and he's not known for his length. So to see him do well, I'm gonna hop on there. And then my last play in that range was Gary Woodland, and Seth's getting me on Xander Schauffele a little bit. I faded him at the was it the Wyndham, or was it where he missed the cut? It was the PGA Championship where a lot of people were on him. He shot an 81 on Friday, so that's a no-go for me. But it's going to be those guys, Xander, Gary Woodland, and who did I mention right before that? Ryan Moore. What about you, man?
All right. Yeah, I'm similar boat to you. I think James Lovemark is worth a look, though. Not single entry, obviously, but GPP, man, he's been decent. His highest recently, T27 at the US Open, T10 at the Memorial, but PGA Championship coming off T33. So it's a decent play. I think On is interesting, especially since his form has not been looking great.
On track to do well, top 25 miscut, top 50 miscut. So he's on pace to do well.
So it definitely one of those sleeper GPP type plays. But yeah, I'm pretty much on the same boat with you. I would not be playing Bubba Watson. I think Hadwin is always interesting, especially at cheap price points. Coming off a cut, plus 13, not good. T5 at the WGC out of nowhere. So he's that type of guy. If you're looking for, just like out of nowhere type of guy that does well, Adam Hadwin, as we know, he's had a win this year. He's one of those guys that could be a sleeper play for if you're trying to have a sleeper play in one of your lineups. I don't know, man, but just since he's gotten married, bro, he hasn't looked too well. He hasn't looked too good. And Tony Finau is another one of those guys. He's gonna be super, super popular. His price is too low. He's one of those guys where, like a lot of the popular guys, you gotta make a stand because I think he's a long, so it would make sense for this type of course. And he's made how many cuts straight? He's made a decent amount of cuts straight. T27 at the Open, T44 at the last PGA Championship. So Tony Finau at 7-3 is one of those guys you got to make a hard stand on or, a hard pass. I've still kind of undecided on my single entry if I want to, bite the chalk on this or fade the chalk. I'll be making that decision later. But he's one of those guys, 7-3 is too cheap for him. Jimmy Walker, interesting. Ryan Moore, you talked about Ryan Moore, right? You said you were playing him.
My favorite play down in that range, especially as a pivot to Finau.
I kind of like Ryan Moore this week too, as well. And Brandon Steele,
your man Brandon Steele.
I won't be playing him single entry. But I can see the merit. I mean, 3 out of 4 cuts doesn't look pretty. Same with Kyle Stanley. I think they missed the same exact tournament. Because that one wasn't a cut tournament. That's the only reason they made it. But T24 at that tournament. Brandon Steele, great scrambler. GPP play, just strictly GPP play. Who else in this range? 7K, Wesley Bryan. It's interesting. Jim Herman. No Jim Herman for me.
What's your take on Russell Henley? I didn't see him until just now, but it's 7K. The guy hasn't missed a cut in like 6 events, 5 if you don't count the Bridgestone.
But I actually didn't see him until just now too, because he's so hidden here. This 7K range is like there's a lot of people who are going to be slept on because there's so many people in this range. Henley, definitely, especially GPP. There was a time when Henley was not looking good, those back-to-back cuts, but since then, T27 at the Open, T5, the Greenbrier, whatever, T37 at the Open Championship, coming off T71 at the PGA Championship, which is not what you want, but he's one of those guys, man. He can make a lot of birdies. He's definitely a GPP play for sure, and I definitely like him, especially at 7K. Like, that's crazy to me. So 7K for Russell Henley, yes, for me. No Vegas for me this week. I think he's had his little moment of where he shined at his one RBC. Pat Perez, what do you think about Pat Perez this week, man?
I don't know. I played him earlier on in the year, but he just hasn't done anything for me to really play him. He doesn't really. There's nothing really about him. that stands out to me. He bogeys a lot from what I'm looking at. He had 12 bogeys at the PGA Championship, at 16 at the Bridgestone. So I'm when I'm looking for birdie makers, he's not really there for me. He's not scoring like I need him to. But at 7K, you can obviously do worse. I mean, Emiliano Grillo has just been in terrible form recently. But I know you got to get going soon. So you just cover whoever you want, man. And because down to that 6.9 range, I think one of the sneakiest plays. I think he's. I want your take on him too, because I'm kind of on the fence here. Two guys. I think Schwartzel's going to be high owned, so it's not him. But my pivot is Brandon Grace right above him. He's at 80-1 odds, which is right there with Ollie and guys 2K more than him. So just your take on Brandon and anyone else you want to mention in the player pool, my man.
No, I like Brandon Grace. I want to reply to a quick comment real quick. Seth was talking about Sabatini's quietly trending upward, which is true. At the same time, though, he also hasn't proven himself in these tough fields. Like last tough field he really played in was a Travelers, where he got cut. He's had T19 John Deere, which is, John Deere. T23 at the RBC, which is, the RBC. T4 at the Wyndham, which was okay. Now the Wyndham was a decent field.
Well, that's
debatable,
but yeah.
Decent is as decent.
Like a C minus, not a C, but a C minus.
Yeah, C minus. So he hasn't proven himself to me in these tougher fields, and that's a big thing for me. Is like, even if a golfer is trending upward, if they haven't shown that they can perform in these big tournaments, like most of the time, even if a golfer has all the potential in the world, if they don't perform well in these big tournaments, they're consistently not going to perform well because the nerves just get to them. Now, he's definitely a flyer. I can see the play. Definitely see the play if you like how he's been trending upward. But as far as me, nah, I couldn't play Sabatini this week. But yeah, I'm just gonna name some plays that I like getting down to this field. Yeah, I gotta get going soon. I mean, Wesley Bryan is always just a flyer. Yeah, I don't like him this week, but you could play him. Gary Woodland, I've heard his name talked about a little bit. He has been trending upward. T22 at the PGA, which is pretty good. Fourth place at the RBC. I don't think I like him this week. If you do like him, don't let me take you off of him. But I don't really like him this week. But in a different tournament, yeah. Ian Poulter is this guy is another question for me. He's one of those guys that teetering up for my lineups. Because he's just been showing up, man. Like, I know he's not long, but when I watched him at the Open, it seems he's made up for that by being more consistent with his driver. And that was always a problem for him. From what I've learned, is that he wasn't as consistent with his driver, and it looks like he's finally sort of got that under control. So at 7K for a guy who at these major events, at majors, T22, T14, and then if we can include the players, T2 at a majors for 7K. I mean, if I didn't say the name, you tell me how hard that is to fade,
Especially that price tag.
At 7K, that's what I'm saying. His worst finish at a major is T22. Are you kidding me? So yeah, I think I might convince myself to play him, to be honest. So I like Ian Poulter. I know he's not that long. I understand any gripes you have against him this week. But he's found a way to compensate for that length by being more consistent. And as his results show, he's been performing at these majors. Brian Harman is somebody I've heard talked about too. I don't see any reason why he wouldn't be a decent play. T2 at the U.S. Open, T13 at the PGA, got cut at the Open, so that. But the Open, everybody got cut, So Brian Harman 7K, definitely, that price especially is beautiful. So I mean, if you like Brian Harman, play him. Xander is one of those guys like you were just talking about. Hopefully, his ownership is probably gonna be down this week since he burned a lot of people at the PGA Championship. Is this the time to hop back on him? You know, can't predict the future, but you might be able to pop back on Xander this week. And you know, hopefully he provides, but it's one of those 50-50 plays, man. Like coming off a cut, guys either respond in two ways. They come out hot or they get cut again. So I mean, it's one of those plays. Now going down, Morgan Hoffman. Morgan Hoffman's interesting. Henley, we talked about him. I like Henley. I like Grace. Dirt McGirt. No Dirt McGirt for me.
He does have the length though, but you can't put it all together.
So here's my one argument for playing Dirt McGirt is he plays pretty decently at Augustus, and according to what people have been saying, this course is similar, or at least set up similar to Augustus. So that's the one merit if you want for a flyer for McGirt, would be playing playing for Will McGirt. I like Brandon McGray. Charles Schwartzer is always entering me every week. I mean, the guy is, you know, he's pretty good. He's pretty good. I definitely can see at 6'9", especially. Like these are all, keep in mind, guys, that these at this range are just mostly flyer plays.
There's one guy that I think is way underpriced that I just noticed because no one's going down to 6.7. But I want you to go down to the 6.7 range, and I bet you in 2 guesses you'll know who I'm talking about.
6.7 exclusively. Let's see here.
There's one guy. There's technically 2 that stand out.
So I see Ches Reavie in this.
Bang, ding, ding, ding. Look at he hasn't missed a cut in 3 months.
Yeah, I see Ches Reavie, man. I always play this guy. This is one of my go-to guys. And, you know, it seems like he never really gets the respect on DraftKings. Wyndham, he was priced up, but everybody was priced up. But besides that, I mean,
it's not like he barely makes the cut. His lowest finish was a T43, and that was at, as you mentioned, not the hardest field he's faced yet, but at the Travelers, which was a top 3 tough field or whatever the correct word is for that. But
yeah, so no, Ches Reavie at that price point seems like a steal, guys. 6'7".
Let me check some ownership on him.
I didn't even know he was down here. That's the thing. People get
9.7.
People do get lost in these ranges, guys. Like make sure you scroll through these ranges thoroughly because there are people they throw in there that are just completely underpriced.
Right, because technically these are the top 120 golfers in the world, technically, quote unquote.
Yeah, exactly. So any of these guys, everybody here is good, you know. Ches Reavie,
you're better than us, yes.
I do like him, Ches Reavie. Ben Martin.
He got disqualified, so that 156 isn't like he shot terribly. He got disqualified for the scorecard issue again.
Ben Martin, fire. That's all I got to say about Ben Martin. Who else do I like? I mean,
a lot of these guys down low are kind of like Sabatini. They just golf in like the Barracuda, the RBC Canadian. Like if you look at their last 4 or 5 events, it's just really the average, like almost web.com events.
What do you think about Kevin Na this week?
Kevin Na is in the same boat as they have the same first name as me is Kevin Tway. They just don't do enough. I think like Kevin Tway and Na, like they can get a birdie streak, but at the same time, they can triple bogey and shoot themselves out of it. So I'm going to be on Reavie. Ches Reavie, honestly, is going to be my play down below 7, except for Brandon Grace. I think those are the only 2 I'm going to touch. And obviously, there's probably going to be one guy that does better. But I will take the chance that it's not Kevin Na or I don't know.
I think another
I'm looking at, I don't know.
Another deep guy down here, David Lingmerth, 6'6".
Valid.
Siwoo Kim, we always talk about this guy's the ultimate. This guy's the ultimate boomer bust. Ultimate boomer bust, man. If he makes the cut, he's gonna be like top 10. So I mean,
I'd put him in a quarter arcade lineup, guys. Unless you have the money to burn, just have your lighter ready to go.
Yeah, if you can roster a guy expecting a miscut, then go ahead. Throw in a Siwoo Kim.
It's like Martin Laird. He's like 5th on POA greens, but he has like 4 missed cuts in a row. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Do I play him? Like, oh man,
it's bad.
That's all it for me. So it's all you, man.
I'm literally like some of these guys I haven't even looked at down here. I'm seeing who's down here. Yeah, I mean,
Seth did bring up JJ Henry, but cover who you were going to say, and then we can talk about Henry just for a quick second as a flyer there.
Yeah, I mean, all I really see down here is JJ Spawn, JJ Henry, and then Nick Taylor.
Luke List is long, so I guess, but he's just been his putter. He's like worst putter on tour.
Luke List, man. I mean, fuck. That guy can putt, bro. Like Luke List is a flyer, guys. Like I can see a flyer for him. If he could putt, man, at his price especially, like he can fit some studs up there, 6'6". Definitely a flyer. But yeah, you talking about JJ Henry, you said?
Yeah, Seth mentioned him a few minutes ago in the chat. Yeah, you just mentioned it again. Take a look at Henry. You talking about stats, Seth, or his recent performance? Let's look at some stats here on JJ Henry real quick. Let me see. He's 58th on POA in the last 24 rounds. It's not terrible for a 6'6" guy. That's better than Henley at 7K. He's good strokes gained tee to green. Let me just look overall here. He does have like 2 top 20s in his last 4 events, which isn't bad for that price as well. Let's see. And his ownership's probably going to be under 2%, I suspect. Yeah, they got him at 0.4 calculated ownership. Holy smokes. That sounds enticing. T10 at the John Deere and a T16 at the Wyndham, and then he missed 2 cuts at lower fields at the Barracuda and the RBC. So not terrible. Oh, and before that, he 4 made cuts in a row. The Greenbrier, Quicken Loans, and the Traveler. So Traveler's not bad. I mean, he got 69, so barely made the cut. But I don't know. The lowest I'm going to go here, I think, is Ches Reavie, especially with 1 or 2 lineups. I won't be able to take the chance on anyone else. Actually, I'm making 3, as you guys saw, if you're looking at my screen then. So I have 3 lineups, and I don't know. For me, it's Ches Reavie, the lowest I'll go.
I'd agree. Ches Reavie is probably like one of the lowest I'd go down there. I got to go soon, so let's just, if you don't mind, can we do our top? Like, can we do a top tier, your favorite play, mid tier favorite play, and like low tier favorite play?
Yeah, no worries, man. Yeah, for me, we can just go. I'll give mine at the top, then yours, and then we can kind of just go in like right there, so I'm not spewing. So for me, my favorite top play is Spieth, and then DJ, just because it's a little like they're like 1A and 1B. Spieth 1A, DJ 1B for me. What about you?
At the top, favorite play, Brooks and Hideki are probably up there for me.
All right, and then down there in the 8K range for me, it's John Rahm and then Mark Leishman. They're my 2.
Yeah, 8K. Fuck, it's tough. Probably. It depends how I'm looking at it. I think Ollie for sleeper, and then as far as I mean, John Rahm is also kind of technically a sleeper. I guess I'll say Ollie for sleeper, and then maybe Matt Kuchar for safety. But yeah, those are my favorite 2 down there.
Awesome. All right, then that 7K range for me, it's going to be Chappell, and that's a long 7K range. So Chappell, just to speed up a little bit, I'm gonna go real contrarian here, and I'm gonna shoot a bullet here, but I'm gonna go Chappell and Ryan Moore. I'm gonna stick to it. Yeah, man, Chappell and Ryan Moore.
I respect it.
Because I think you can fit 2 studs if you go. You're gonna have to drop down real low, not to slow what we were saying down here, but I'm gonna put DJ and Spieth in. You have 7K flat, so if you put Reavie in there, obviously we can't make a full lineup because this is against DraftKings terms of service. But Spieth, DJ, and Reavie, then you have 7,100, which is right there. So you can take Finau, or you guys fill in the blanks there. But that's what I'm gonna have one lineup that looks like that probably. But go ahead, your favorites in that stuff.
I think honestly in the 7K range, I like Hoffman. I think I'm leaning more towards liking Hoffman than not playing him. And then yeah, if you're riding the chalk this week, Finau is just 7K ranges. He's outclasses most of these guys besides like Hoffman or maybe more. So yeah, I mean on this range, I think I'm more on the chalk on this side. I don't know if I'm gonna play Finau, but I do like Hoffman this week.
All right, then down to the dumpster range, down to under 7K. I'm pretty sure we both like Ches Reavie, of course, but down. Let's see, I didn't scroll far enough. There's so many guys at 7K. So Brandon Grace would be my favorite at the upper 6.9s. We didn't cover him, but I think Chad Campbell is a good flyer just because usually he's up in the mid-7s. He hasn't missed a cut in 5 events. Was at the Travelers, the hardest field he's been in. So this is obviously a tough field as well. But Chad Campbell, Brandon Grace. Well, I'd go Brandon Grace first. Chad Campbell would be my last play. And a 6'7" Ches Reavie. And then no one else down below there for me.
Yeah, I think down in this range, I do like Ian Polar at 7K. And then, I like Morgan. Favorite play is probably Ches Reavie in this range for sure. And then I think the most interesting play. Maybe like a Graham Dillette, possible flare. I don't think we even really talked about it that much, but yeah, Chesby definitely my favorite play in that range.
Brookwick, I don't want to hold you any longer than you have to, but I just saw Sung Kang at 6.8, and I'm pretty sure he's a par 4 wizard, or he's known for his par 4 scoring. I mean, he hasn't been doing well recently, but I remember he was 20% owned earlier on in the year, so I don't know. He's going to be under 2-3%. We're getting a lot of names down there that aren't really needed, but yeah, man, I don't know. It's just
another guy, Sung Kang.
Yeah, but that's all I got. Any final notes, my man, on anything going on, and maybe anything about Denver, your trip to Colorado? Let them know maybe like what's going on. Like you're flying out there tomorrow, or
let me let you guys know what's going on in the sweatshop. Yeah, so I will be flying out there tomorrow afternoon. Be in Denver around 6 their time, Denver. I'll be flying out there for the week. They flew me out there this weekend for the MLB Live Finals Denver event. 500K to first place, guys. Nuts. That is
only 100 people too, I think, right?
125 people, yes. So
well, actually, really, 125 entries, right? Because some people you can have multiple entries technically, right?
Yeah. So there are people like that fucking
the Sharks.
I always remember this guy's name. I can't think of it right now, but he's like an Asian looking dude, but he has like.
I know who you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about, right? I can't remember his name right now. Though.
Oh man.
But yeah, he has a lot of multiple entries. I'm sure many of those guys have multiple entries. I only have a single entry, guys. I didn't even bother trying qualifying multiple times because I mean, one's good for me, guys. But yeah, I will be there this weekend. The actual tournament is on Saturday. I'm sure DraftKings will be posting about it, but I will try to get a link for you guys if you guys want to follow the live tournament or whatever. And I'll post it in the sweatshop. I'll try to take some pictures too. That when I'm out there.
I was just about to say that, man. I gotta take some pictures.
Yeah. Yeah. So Friday they're gonna be taking us to the actual course field and like where the batting cages and all that stuff is, and like down there. So that would be cool.
Get to swing too. They're gonna let you swing.
Yeah, they're gonna let us swing down there. And then Saturday. Yeah.
I mean, hey, the elevation, boys. You never know.
See me starting for chorus, baby. All right, but
you gotta start playing for the Padres soon, man. No.
Yeah, Saturday is the real tournament. Definitely hitting some of you guys up. What you guys think about some of my plays on Saturday for sure?
Real quick, it's a completely different slate for the. I know you got to go. It's like it's a completely different slate.
So these live finals, most of the time, as what I've seen all the time, they condense the slates. I think it's due because they want to be able to present the winner the same night, maybe, or something. I don't know. That's what might be my guess. But they do condense the slates. Maybe it's so you don't work with other people outside of the tournament. Yeah, so it's like smaller than the normal Saturday slates. It's like 7 games. It's a decent slate. It's nothing too pretty. I mean, Cincinnati is on the slate. At Cincinnati, I mean, so that small, that park is always good. Philadelphia is on the slate.
Oh, I think you were talking about Osimo. Is that it? The guy Osimo by chance?
No, Osimo. Yeah, Osimo. And then there's another. Oh, Utica or whatever his name.
Oh, Utica. That's right.
Yeah, that guy, man. That guy has like 4 or 5. Last time I checked, he had like 4 or 5 entries. But
yeah, back in the day, I used to play the 50-50s for like $50 and like 109. I would try bro, he was in every single one. It was crazy.
Yeah, but I would love for the sweatshop to take that thing down, bro. 500K.
Hell yeah. You know anyone else there by chance? Like anyone else participating, or just straight Sharks?
No, all I know really is Sharks there.
I feel you, yeah.
So I'll be meeting these people face to face, guys. So I'll let you know how Chipotle is and how some of these guys are. Yeah, but yeah, I gotta go, guys. So good luck on your tournaments this week. Dex, is always a pleasure with you, my man.
Of course, always.
Locked pack, man. I hope one of us wins some of these big tournaments this week. A lot of $8, 8 tournaments. So good luck. I'll be back later before lock. Dex, if you're still up in there, Seth and all you guys. If you guys
talking about tomorrow morning?
No, tonight. Like I'll be gone for like 2 or 3 hours maybe.
Oh yeah, I might be awake. I don't know. I got class early tomorrow, but I finished all my work.
I understand if you guys are not up. I'll hit the group chat up, but yeah. Good luck, guys, and take it easy.
Yeah, you guys keep it easy, guys, and best of luck. Big tournaments out there. one of us got to take it down. But all right, y'all stay good and get to the money. We'll see you guys tomorrow, and keep it in the sweatshop. We'll keep posting about it, live updates and all that good stuff. Y'all keep it easy.